Again, and this is Luciana Bolis. I'm the chair of the Beaumont section for the ASQ, and we have today with us Wanda Sturm with the ASQ Board of Directors. I'm really thank you for attending our webinar on Leading Change today, and we're really happy to have you here, and we hope this is a valuable experience for you. So let's talk more about Wanda. Wanda is a progressive leader with 30 years of experience across the energy, financial, and high-tech sectors. She has an MBA, is a master black belt, holds certificates in change management, coaching, system thinking, and performance management. Wanda also served on the Malcolm Baldrige National Quality Award Board of Examiners from 2008 to 2010. Is a member of the ASQ Board of Directors 2019 and the Technical Community Committee Vice Chair. She is currently employed as a consultant in the energy sector. So I will talk about some small rules that we're going to have during the webinar. Feel free to make comments in the chat box, or if you have any questions, there's a specific box for that. Wanda will be answering all the questions at the end of the webinar. And after the webinar, I will be sending the proof of the webinar for the 0.1 RUs for the ones that have certifications. Remember that in order to receive these RUs, you will have to be in the webinar for more than 40 minutes. Okay, so if Wanda, you're ready to start, please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Luciana and the Beaumont section for having me here today. We're here to talk about leading change and change that has taken place. And we're going to specifically talk about change within ASQ. And before we begin, though, I'd like to just take a moment to recognize that here in the U.S. today is the 18th anniversary of 9/11. That was a very devastating time for the U.S. And then recently there was hurricane destruction in the Bahamas, and then last year in Puerto Rico. And so change is forced upon us during catastrophes of this type, whether they're man-made or they're forces of nature. And these acts create specific changes that have to be made in our communities. And yet, these changes can be positive changes made whether to better protect ourselves or to better enable responses to these undesirable circumstances. So as we think about change and ways to enable us to take action to lead change, that's what I want us to focus on today. We're going to look at some of the positive changes taking place within the world of quality, and we're going to focus on ASQ's history. Then we're going to look at the present and what's been accomplished in 2018 and into 2019. And we're going to look at the future as well. So keep in mind, we're going to look behind, we're going to look to the present, and we're going to look to the future. So first of all, let's begin by looking at ASQ's rich history, because it is quite rich. If this were more interactive and we could have a lot of discussion, I would ask you to shout out how many of you actually know that ASQ used to be named something differently. And hopefully many of you would know that. If you don't, though, I would like to share that on February 16th, 1946, there were 253 members in Milwaukee, Wisconsin that established what's known as ASQC, which stood for the American Society for Quality Control. Now, you know, you've made it, you've arrived in life if you're on Wikipedia, right? So I looked up ASQ on Wikipedia, and it actually describes ASQ as a knowledge-based global community of quality professionals with nearly 80,000 members dedicated to these things: promoting and advancing quality, quality tools, principles, and practices, not only in their workplace, but in their communities. Also, what happened in the 1940s is that ASQC's Code of Conduct, or Code of Ethics, was established. And these are the standards that were set in place for us as members to conduct our activities and our business. And that Code of Ethics stands in place today. You can see in this picture that when ASQC was initially formed, quality control was a key focus for the quality profession. And if you look there in this picture, you see the guy in the white coat inspecting the door. So you can see that inspection was actually a critical component of ensuring that manufacturing was of quality. So you can see what was going on the assembly line with vehicles at that time. Another thing that happened is the decision by the United States to join in World War II required mass production of goods and increased services to support the war effort. So within weeks, this whole country was changing its course and retooling existing factories to support the needs of the war. And the United States needed to produce many different pieces of equipment, like airplanes and everything that goes into those, ships, vehicles, guns, and ammunition for the war. And ASQ traces its beginnings back to the end of World War II as quality experts and the manufacturers sought ways to sustain the many quality improvement techniques that were used during World War II. ASQ has played a critical role in upholding these standards from the past, while at the same time championing and continuing innovation in the field of quality. So you can see as these workers in this picture are involved, also there has been a shift in quality, and the shift has moved to things like healthcare and other areas. So it goes beyond manufacturing now. Today, ASQ is a global organization with members in more than 140 countries. So no longer are we a U.S.-based organization or a U.S.-only organization. ASQ operates in North Asia, South Asia, Latin America, the Middle East and Africa, and has established strategic alliances with 24 organizations through a program called the World Partners Program. This is involved with organizations in countries like Brazil, Canada, the UAE, United Arab Emirates, to promote ASQ products and ASQ training. So you can see the advancement that has taken place. Let's just take a snapshot look at the timeline from 1946, when it was formed, and through until 2017, which is kind of back to our history here, when the first Quality Summit was held. So you can see some key things that took place is that Quality Progress, the magazine, came out first in 1968. Then there was National Quality Month, and that was in the U.S. It was October. I know in other countries it's the month of November, and that changes depending on different countries and what's most appropriate for their schedules. In 1987, Malcolm Baldrige was established, and ASQC was the co-administrator. As Luciana mentioned, I was an examiner for Malcolm Baldrige earlier in the 2000s, and it was a very rewarding experience. So it is intimately ingrained within ASQ today. In 1997, you can see that this was a big change. So we're talking about change. So one of the key changes that took place was dropping the C, the control part, after ASQ. And that was done through a membership vote. And, you know, to me, so as a member of the board and having been a chair and several other roles within technical communities, to me, what this means is it just expanded the view for quality. It moved out of just quality control and became more associated with what we call, or how it was expressed to me, was as the big Q. So quality being more of a mindset, and also it gets to the nitty-gritty standards and specifics that are required. So it's this broader view of quality. And so today in ASQ, we have a new tagline that we're using. It says, excellence through quality. And that's real important because that's what we're looking for, is we're looking to deliver excellence through quality. And so one of the things that help us to begin to look into the future then, coming from our history, is the Quality 4.0 Summit. The first plans were put in place for that in 2017, And there's going to be a 4.0 summit held November 18th and 19th in Dallas. And the theme this year for 2019 is called Thriving in Disruption. So I'm sure many of you, just like I do, experience a lot of disruption in your organizational life and also in community life as well. And so how do you thrive during that disruption is the title of that. And that could prove to be an excellent way to gain additional insights and be on the cutting edge for quality going forward. ASQ is a very proud organization. And as a member of the board, I'm also very proud. I'm very proud of this organization. I'm very proud of it because we are actually the custodians of quality and the quality legacy. We are also a connected community of quality experts. I can't tell you the number of times I've had opportunities to have discussions with different ones that come from totally different fields than where I do. They're in quality, but they're in a different industry, or they have a different focus in terms of their geographic area. And listening to them and how quality impacts what they do gives me insights and ability to apply new and different techniques in my day-to-day work. The other thing is that we are thought leaders. And what we want to and what we're striving to do is be those thought leaders for the future of quality. It's important for us to set ourselves apart and for ASQ to be looked at as the one that's leading this future of quality. The only way that we're going to be able to continue this pride and continue to be able to move forward is if we do this one statement. And that's if we enhance and accelerate what our members, all of you that are on the phone, all of you that are ASQ members, what do you value about your membership in ASQ? Our critical focus, and I know a focus for the board that we've been focusing on this year, and I certainly believe is carrying into next year, is our focus on you, the ASQ member. So we offer in ASQ, and I know I'm giving you a lot of history and a lot of information, but I think this is valuable for you to know. But just as this picture depicts, we offer 18 professional certifications relating to various aspects of the quality profession. And in addition to that, the certification exams are translated right now into 5 different languages. So they're in English, Korean, Mandarin, Portuguese, and Spanish. So if you have and are a part of a global organization, as I am, one of the key things is, is this going to translate? Will this translate for them? So it's nice to have these certifications in other languages for some of the other countries. There's a whole list of these certifications, and I'm not going to go through the list, but I would tell you that if you are an inspector, then you may want to look at the inspector certification, or an auditor, you may want to look at that type certification. I'm a master black belt, so that's through Six Sigma. So we have Six Sigma black belts, we have green belts, yellow belts. There's all levels that you can go through with regards to Six Sigma. And then we have a brand new certification called the Supplier Quality Professional. And this is new in the last couple of years. So that may be something, if you're in supply chain management or supplier quality, that you would want to look into as an opportunity to help grow your career. All right, so that's the past. That's kind of a little bit of what we do. But let's take a look at how we're going to get to this future that we want to have. And let's make that a focus area for us. So we want to deliver that great member value. Remember, it's all about you as a member. And the only way that we feel like we can do that as an organization is to make sure that you have curated content. That means that you've got content that's at your fingertips when you need it, that will give you the type of information that you need. That you have community connections. So your sections that you're a part of, your technical communities that you're a part of. So whichever geographic community that you are in, if you're in Beaumont, you can engage with those people there. I know in Houston, there's a couple of different communities here that I can engage with. And then there's this whole area of professional growth. And we'll talk a little bit more about that, about things that are available for that. But the thing about it is all of this, becoming the organization that drives your value, that delivers to you this curated content, these ongoing community connections, and this opportunity to grow professionally has to have some changes with it. So some of the key insights, and I'm not going to read all of these to you, there are 6 on here, and I really want to talk about it with you in a little different way than how it's written here. So I have another slide to follow it up, but I want to share these with you. So take a look at these as I click on them. But this one, the number 1 here, is the big change that's taking place. I don't know how many of you realize, so I'm a baby boomer. So I am fastly becoming obsolete in the workforce, and things are changing in terms of new people coming into the workforce, people with different ideas, and it's not necessarily doing with their age, but at the same time, it's because of people growing up in a different world where technology is more advanced than it was when I was a child. And I look at all the opportunity that is out there in terms of information availability, how that has changed over time. So you can see that there is a very big change, that what's really relevant and what's going to bring membership across the different generations and across the different practitioners. So the rest of these, I'll give you a second to read, and then we're going to talk to them. So let's kind of look at it like this. Let's look at them kind of from a level up and with some points about what we can do to try and help you navigate the change that's required. So evolving the value of membership. What this really means is we need connections with a broader reach. And how are we going to do that? Well, we're doing one of those things today. We're having a virtual touch point. So this is the first time that this geographic community in Beaumont has actually held a virtual conference or a virtual webinar with its people to try and engage them at a time maybe different that would be more accessible to them than for evening meetings. There's going to be more virtual touch points that will be available, but also we need those local touch points as well. So that's where the meetings come into place when they have the dinner meetings. We also need to increase access to content. So as I just mentioned a couple minutes ago, having that information conveniently on demand. So what we're working toward is curating and migrating the quality body of knowledge. And once this is all put in one place, then you will be able to access that content and have what you need to help you in your job as a quality leader. The next thing to help you drive change is to let the content drive the community. And so this is real interesting to me because typically we've put communities together and said, here, if you're interested in this, go over here. If you're interested in this topic, go here. But now what's happening and what is being noticed is that it's more organic and people are beginning to come together around topics, around the content. And so my ASQ is ASQ's response to that, to have a web-based interface where communities can grow around specific content that's of interest to you. So rather than saying, hey, if you're interested in communication, join a communications group, you may be very specific and say, I need to understand how better, from a change perspective, to communicate with leaders in the C-suite. And if that's who you need to talk to or some upper leaders, then you can drive a community. You can help build a community around that key topic to get insights and help. and have it grow from that versus it just be a general communication type community. The next thing is to fulfill the desire for development. Now, this is critical as well because as we're growing, we need to develop not only our technical skills, but also our soft skills. And so ASQ is looking at different assessment tools, being able to provide some benchmarking, and being able to help with career pathing. And I know this is very important. There is a mentoring program that's being developed and that will be able to be accessible for ASQ members to have a mentor to help them as they begin to grow their career. Or maybe you're changing in your career and you used to do something else, but now you're a quality leader. So how do you exercise that role? Excuse me. How can you exercise that role the very best that you can? The last one here is driving excellence in the whole organization. You know, it's not about just one thing, and it's not about just one group, but it's your whole organization needs to make this transition. It's about thought leadership around cutting edge topics. And so how can we do that? How can we help build that excellence in the whole organization? Well, we can do that through such things like webinars. This is just one touch point, but also through partnerships, through conferences, and through having events. So there are things that are face-to-face, there are things that are virtual, there are things that are built on relationships. It's very critical to look at all of these and figure out where can you fit into this and what most is going to help you as a member of ASQ to attain more value from your membership. So we are positioning ourselves to grow. And in doing that, we want to fulfill our mission. So our mission has been refreshed or improved, and I think it fits very well with today's environment, and it supports our tagline that we have. The mission says, ASQ empowers the people, communities, and organizations of the world to achieve excellence through quality. So that's a pretty big mission. So we need to think about how are we actually going to do that. It's very important for us to grow, not only in fulfilling our mission, but in how are we going to create and deliver member value. And thirdly, we need to grow in a way that assures the society remains the quality community of choice. So these are big aspirations. You know, when you first think of the word quality, my whole goal is to think of this in terms of when anyone in the world thinks of quality, they think of ASQ. I need to go there. I need to go to this excellence through quality organization to help me be able to address my quality growth or my quality issues or my quality desire that I have for my organization or my community. So this whole focus around excellence through quality is a critical component. So let's look at what we've done in 2018 and also a little bit in 2019. So we are committed to evolving in a way that honors ASQ's roots. So do you remember those first slides we looked at? Remember, ASQ was born out of the fact that after World War II, we really wanted to put in place some of those key quality standards and improvements that have really made a difference in providing not only products, but services of quality. And so we're committed to evolving to honor that. And that's what we still want to do. We still want to deliver quality in both products and services. So what were some things that we did in 2018 that shows that we have been working along this path? And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about WCQI because it was focused on change and how that really helped us as well. So some key accomplishments in 2018, Our individual membership did grow. Our organizational membership we were able to retain. You know, this is another time that I wish that I could see all of you and we could have some conversation. Or are you an individual member or organizational member? As an individual within an organization, how do you feel about access to content and things that can help you in your role? As an individual member, how do you feel about the content and information that you can get and the interactions that you have to help you within your organization? So you're not mutually exclusive, but it is important that we consider both aspects, both the individual and the organizational membership. We spent some time working on the product development roadmap. That kind of gets to some of the assessments that we were talking about in a previous slide. New member unit structures. So those of you that are members of specific industry groups, we're calling that the technical communities now, the TCs. And for those of you that are members of regions and have been members of regions and sections, then that is called the geographic communities now. So we have a TC and a GC. And so those are the names of our member unit structures. Plus they've changed a little bit in how they are laid out and formatted. But it is a great way to engage both directions. You can engage not only in your area where you are, but you can also engage by subject matter. And this is where it talks about there's been greater support provided for both the technical and geographic communities. As Luciana mentioned, I've been the vice chair for the Technical Communities Council this year in 2019, and we have received some great support to help us get things organized and to be able to look at things. We're structured into sectors now, or segments, and we have 3 of those focused on the types of industry or products that are offered from these groups and focused areas. So it works out extremely well for us to be able to share across groups and be able to leverage learning and opportunities across organizations. So we're also looking at all of our governance to make sure that we are well governed, and we are enhancing our member leader face-to-face and virtual events. So I know that both the GC and TC are looking at having a virtual event for all of its member leaders, and then also we will have face-to-face sessions. So we are trying to move into the digital age along with everyone else in this world, and so it's very important for us not to only rely on face-to-face sessions, but to embrace virtual events. And so I'm sure each and every one of you have been engaged with digital transformation, either on your own as an independent or in your organization where you work. And so one of the things that ASQ has done then is launch the My ASQ community platform, and we briefly talked about that. But I would encourage you, if you are not a member of the My ASQ community, you need to sign up for it. You log in with your ASQ login, and then you can go to the My ASQ community platform. There you can join other communities, and this is where you can self-organize topics that you really need information on, or you would like to reach out to others and get their perspective, or you would like to share your perspective with others. So there's great opportunity there. There have been some significant upgrades to ASQ.org. That's where you would originally log in. And then there has been the development of My ASQ Finance. This is making it much easier for both technical communities and geographic communities to manage their budgets. So with those are some things that were accomplished in 2018. But I want to talk to you, and I don't have a slide on it, a little bit about our keynote speakers that we had at WCQI in 2019. Very interesting. Most every one of them had something to do with digital transformation. So we had a guy named, and I'm going to butcher his last name, but it's Patrick Schwerdberger. He's a business futurist. And his specialty was around technology trends, talking about artificial intelligence and blockchain. It was very interesting because it was probably one of the first times that I've somewhat understood blockchain, although I would never try to explain it to you here. But he did an excellent job. And so there are recordings, I'm pretty sure, of all of these keynote speakers that you could go back and look at these. Dr. Tricia Wang was there, and she is involved with Fortune 500 companies and tech startups, and she calls herself a technology ethnographer. And then Benjamin Lavoie, he was from Anheuser-Busch. So it's real interesting. So you look at a futurist, and then you look at Dr. Wang. She worked for Sun Compass Global, and that's a tech company. And then you've got Anheuser-Busch, which is a beverage company, right? And so his diverse operational excellence and his dealings with digital experience, came through where he talked about accelerating Lean Six Sigma programs in their organization and how important that was for them. Then we had Cheryl Cran, who is the founder of Next Mapping, and she's also a very large influencer and has written several books. And she was very interesting in terms of how do you go about influencing work, and how are you going to be ready for the next thing that comes along? What's that future of work actually look like? And then we also had Charlene Lee, and she is one of the top 50 leadership innovators and one of the most creative people in business. And, just very interesting topics. So in terms of WCQI this last year, the focus was on leading change. Each of these 5 people spoke to us specifically about how to lead change in your organization, whether you are dealing strictly with the digital platforms or whether you're looking at your Lean Sigma programs or you're trying to improve the products that you're putting out. And so it was very interesting because they were very future-oriented and they were very entrepreneurial and very innovative in their comments that they had to offer. So I can tell you, not only that, but many of the sessions at ASQ, WCQI up in Fort Worth back in May was focused on, and all of it had to be related to this idea of change. So several different topics that I went to talked about change from an elementary standpoint through to a more sophisticated standpoint. And so you can tell that each of the people there brought something for different levels of quality understanding. I had a great opportunity to talk with a person that was just starting out their career and just started with ASQ, and we had quite a conversation in terms of how to get involved, what can I do, how can I get more assistance in helping me grow my quality career, what are the key things that I can do. So one of the things that we want to talk about next is looking at our path forward and how ASQ can help with that. But keep in mind, this is all about individuals, all about each and every one of you, all about those that are new to quality, all about those who have been with quality for years and have a lot to share with those who are new with quality. And we all have the opportunity to learn regardless of how long we've been involved, because there's always something new coming and there's always opportunity in front of us. So our path forward. The underlying principles of our strategy are enduring regardless of the pace of change. So the whole point is ASQ wants to continue as the organization. We want to be the quality organization of the world. And the way to do that is we need to stay true to our principles and keep up and move forward regardless of the pace of change. I mean, it is so important that we stay with our direction and where we want to go. So with that, the Board of Directors put together and approved 4 strategic goals for 2019 through 2021. And we're going to talk about those next. Our first strategic goal is to drive thought leadership and excellence through quality. This is another place where I really wish that we could have you shout out your responses. But what do you think it really means to drive thought leadership and excellence through quality? How would you drive thought leadership? So if you guys have some ideas about that, what you would do to help drive thought leadership, I would love for you to put them in the chat or come up or send me a note afterwards and let me know your thoughts. The second strategic goal is to deliver new, tailored solutions to more organizational members and customers. So I told you this is all about members for ASQ. So we have 2 types of members, individual members and organizational members. A lot of the focus is on individual members, but one of our key strategic goals is to make sure that we've got some new and tailored solutions to organizational members. There has not been as large a focus on that group in the organization, and so there's some focus being placed on that for the next 3 years. But then it's very important to improve the individual member experience. That's what this is all about, your individual member experience. And remember back to what I said earlier, whether you are a member through the organization or you're an individual member on your own, you pay your own dues for this. The important thing is that as an individual, you have a great member experience. And so that's critically important, and that's very important to me. And so any ideas that you have or you want to share about how you would see your membership being improved, please, don't hesitate to let any of us know. And then strategic goal number 4 is to put best practices in governance, operations, and risk management in place. And so we are looking at our governance, we're looking at how we operate, and we are reviewing our risk management approach to make sure that all of that is instituted and is a best practice.
Sorry, Wanda, there's one of the attendees, Dave Harry, that make a mention on, you talked about thought leader, and he mentioned to be a thought leader, you first have to have followers. No followers, no leaders.
Very good point, and that's absolutely true. And so to be a thought leader, you do have to have followers, but you have to have something that people are willing to follow as well. So what would be the things that we need to be a thought leader? What type of information would create the type of followers that we need for quality and for individuals to view ASQ as that thought leader? We started out in the organization with people like Deming, Duran, Crosby, Ishikawa, all the greats from the past. We looked at them as the subject matter experts, as the quality gurus. Now we're thinking about, can ASQ as an organization be, quote unquote, the guru versus an individual? And so that's worth some debate and worth some conversation. I think any ideas that you have to create those followers, what is it that we need to offer so that people would be willing to follow and see us as that thought leader? I'm not sure that answered your question, but I do agree with you. You do have to have followers. Absolutely. Very good comment. So at the heart of ASQ strategy is a commitment to enhance and improve the member experience. So this, again, this has been repeated several times, but I wanted to be sure that we hit this, because this is what is most important. You, the members of ASQ are what is most important. So we have a few ideas around these different goals that we talked about, the 4 strategies. And so I'm going to share those with you. I don't know that we'll go into these into detail. We got about 5 minutes left, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So let me just highlight some of these real quick, and we'll get to the end of this so we can get to your questions. So the first steps to drive ASQ thought leadership, these are some ideas that that we had come up with as the board of directors looked at this to approve it. The strategic planning committee came up with these. They are to establish and communicate a unique point of view, and you can read the rest of this. To demonstrate knowledge through our quality body of knowledge, and to make sure that it's accessible. And then finally, the last idea was to identify, produce, and launch original research aligned with the Quality 4.0 topics. So remember I mentioned earlier, and so there's some repetition in this to make sure that we all can remember the different things that are going on. The 2019 theme for the Quality 4.0 is thriving in disruption. So, you know, coming out of that, what could be helpful to help drive thought leadership? So delivering new solutions to organizational members and customers, this was the second goal. So this was producing webinar series. So that would be one thing, just like we're doing today, but this is through the Ascend program on ASQ. It's a growing network, and so all thought leaders can have access to this and be a part of cutting edge topics. And then the second part of this was associated with the assessment tool. And a second assessment tool that we just discussed having put in place was the competency assessment tool, and this would help identify how professionals are or where professionals are in their current skills and competencies to be able to help them to put together a performance plan to be able to grow their competency levels and quality. Expand the Leadership Academy. And this is a great program for any of you that are young quality professionals. You may want to talk to your organization about letting you be involved with the ASQ Leadership Academy. It would be an excellent venue for you to build your resume and build your understanding of quality leadership. And then this whole career pathing is another area that's being looked into and that we're establishing to help with your professional journey and enhance the value that you can deliver. To look at the individual member, there are several things listed on here. I want to just point out the last one on here is continuing to provide cost-effective meeting solutions, allowing for better engagement of member leaders. So I know I've mentioned this several times, and I'm going to mention it one more time, is holding webinars, holding different types of virtual meetings. I know I'm in the process at my job of learning how to do WebEx training so that we can do things remotely for people on other continents, and they can engage with new tools and things that are out there to help them better execute their jobs. So it's very different for me trying to conduct training over a web environment, but there are some cool tools and tips and tricks out there to help you do that. And so that may be old hat for some of you, but I've grown up going to training classes and also delivering in-person training. So it's a very great learning opportunity for me. So I'm continuing to develop my skills and capabilities as well. So we all have the opportunity to do that. So the one that I want to mention on this slide, and you can read through these, I think this launched the Which Certification is Right for You web tool to help guide you in selecting certifications aligned with your specific needs. Once this is launched, then this will help you decide what type of certification do I really need to help my job progress, to help my role in my organization, or to help me if I want to transition organizations or change groups, what type of certification would be right for me. So as you're dealing with change, thinking about the different changes that take place with others, you've got to think about change within yourself as well, about how are you going to make the leap from one area to another? How are you going to be able to enhance your quality leadership and your quality skills to be able to help others make changes as you're making changes to processes, or you're providing feedback to them during inspections or audits that things need to be done differently? How are you going to help those people make changes? And so you can determine what's going to be right for you to help you make that next leap. To institute best practices, I want to talk about this one just briefly. Continue to enhance risk management practices and apply resources to minimize the probability and impact of risk. So I work primarily in the oil and gas industry, and risk is a very critical thing. And you talk about risk in terms of project success, but also risk in terms of safety. And so depending on what industry you're in and what you're working in, it could be very critical to look at all the different impacts of risk on your project. And I think that, I know one of the things we did, even when I worked for a technology company, was to look at what were some of the risks associated with implementation of certain new tools with other locations. And so that was critically important as well. So I think continuing to enhance that whole risk management practice is a great area to focus on, and could be a great way for ASQ to, again, be kind of one of the leaders in terms of how are we going to manage quality risk. And then this is the last bullet on this page. So we're going to wrap up with these few slides that are left. And in 2020, WCQI is going to be held in Columbus, Ohio. It's going to be May 3 through May 6, and the theme is Realize Your Impact. So for quality professionals, the opportunity to impact an organization's digital transformation has never been greater. So there's a great opportunity for all of us. I know that every project that I'm working on right now has infinite opportunity for change, because what's happening is there is a lot of digital transformation going on. So organizations are going to need to leverage the skills and the abilities of quality teams and leaders, and it's very urgent that this happen. WCQI in 2020 is going to inform and guide attendees on your mission to assess, increase, and leverage your expertise in the quality arena and as it relates to digital transformation. The knowledge and the insights that are shared there, it's just a great experience. It can influence, and you can leave there being able to go back and influence transformation in your own organization. And it helps transform you as an individual, and it helps us look for the right tools and strategies so that we can affect change, we can increase value, and we can drive an organization to achieve its quality goals. So the ASQ of the future is a modern professional association positioned to be responsive to the needs of its members, customers, and the quality community. I know you can read that, but I just want to tell you, I'm just going to put these bullets up here. and say that attending your local and virtual connection opportunities is one way you can get involved. Another way you can get involved is you can review ASQ's content. You can go to the bodies of knowledge that exist on MyASQ and ASQ.org sites. If you're an organizational member, if you're an individual member, you can be engaged and help your organization determine the solutions that's needed to advance in the marketplace. ASQ offers mentoring and other opportunities to join in learning and being a part of the future of quality professionals. Plus, with the governance and operations, there is a place for you to volunteer. Within WCQI, there are some things that you can do. So one thing is to actually just attend. If you have a subject matter expertise that you would like to share with others, you can submit proposals. There's also an International Team Excellence Award. They typically are looking for judges. That's another way to get involved. Also, the proposals that come in, there is a board of reviewers. So there's different opportunities to be involved with WCQI besides being a speaker or just showing up. So you can look for those ways. You can also volunteer with your section. You can volunteer to present, just like I did today. You can present at one of your section webinars or meetings. You can also volunteer to be a member leader. You can fill a vacant position. You can become more entrenched and involved in ASQ and how you can help lead what's going on with ASQ in your area. And then you can also engage with different technical communities to share your knowledge as a subject matter expert in your field of quality. So the whole thing about it is ASQ is for you, and we would like for you to be involved, and it's all up to you. Get engaged, please. Please lead change in your organization and in your community. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Wanda. It was a great presentation. Thank you also for reminding us on the October Quality Month. I remember that I used to live in Argentina, and when I was living there, ASQ was present also there, as you mentioned, it's becoming international, and I was celebrating the Quality Month in November. So now that I'm here, yep, we'll start a change and celebrate in October. So getting ready for that. And you also mentioned the annual ASQ conference, the WCQI 2018, and I was there, and I agree with you. The speakers were great. The whole conference was a great learning experience. So I recommend that you all get involved into the next one for Ohio, or the one that will be in Dallas for the people that live in Beaumont or in Houston. It will be a great experience for sure. You also mentioned about looking for or getting involved. So if there's so from the Beaumont section, we're also looking for member leaders. So if you're looking forward to get engaged, please contact me and let me know how can you help. So Wanda, we have a couple of we have a question. Well, it's not a question but a comment from one of the attendees, Luigi Siria, who says, being a member has been for me the best thing I have ever done. The feeling of being the feeling of being part of ASQ is for me amazing. I'm a believer in innovation, technology, etc. But I think we as quality professionals, we have to focus on the people. And what ASQ is doing is great. ASQ is focusing on the members. What do you think?
I think you're right. Oh, I'm so excited. That is great to hear. And I am so thrilled that you are finding value in your membership with ASQ. And I think you're absolutely right. The focus on the people is what's critical. It's very easy to get focused on the tools and on the how to do things, but focusing on what people have to go through to change every day, what people are dealing with in terms of things not being the way that they were used to, or being excited because things are moving in a different direction. That's a change as well. And positive change is just as difficult as negative change. So I think that's excellent. I appreciate your comment, and please stay involved and please send more ideas as you get them.
Yes, I totally agree also. And as he mentioned, the most important thing that we have to focus on is on people. And I met you, Wanda, and Luigi also. I met you both on the conference for the first time. Sometimes you see people on LinkedIn, but you never get to know them face to face. And this was a great experience for me, not only professionally, but also personally. So yeah, it's great what you can do when you love something like quality and innovation, and how much you can get involved to continue with your dreams, right?
Absolutely.
So we'll give a couple of minutes to see if anyone else wanna ask any question or have any comments before we leave. So just a reminder, I will be sending the presentation so that you all can read it at home, and if you need to, I will upload also the webinar, and I will send you a link to that. And I will be also sending you the RUs so that you can present for your certification. So it was a really great experience, great presentation, Wanda. I really appreciate your time doing this. So is there anything else you would like to say to the audience?
The only thing is, if you have ideas, either let Luciana know, or you can email me. She can put my email address in the note that goes out to you. I'll be happy to respond and be in touch with you. I really appreciate the opportunity to serve you, and you are what's important to me, are the members.
Wonderful. Thank you, Wanda. And there's one more comment. This is from Fernando Merlo. And he's saying, I'm in Neuquén, Argentina. Oh, well, another Argentinian. Welcome, Fernando. And he said that he's trying to promote quality management and culture in the oil and gas industry. That is awesome. That's amazing. It's very important. How can I involve with ASQ so as to gain a push on this mission? It's a great question because, as you know, in Argentina, we have the ASQ, but we don't have all the same meetings on all the same information that you have here in the US. So what can you recommend him to do?
So there is one of the divisions is called Energy and Environmental. And so I think they have some information that may be helpful. They cover quite a bit, not just oil and gas, but also if he wants to contact me, I can put him in contact with some people here in Houston that may be able to help him.
Wonderful, thank you. And I think I can give you a couple of names too, Fernando, and see if they are from Argentina and see if they can help you too. Okay, so thank you for your comments. I think we're all set for now. Thanks again to all of you. Thanks, Wanda, and thanks to all the attendees. I hope you enjoy the session, and we will be letting you know if we have more sessions in the future. Thank you very much. And again, we'll keep in touch for the presentation and the webinar upload and for their use. Thank you very much and have a great day.
Thank you.